Hello, and welcome to Magical Academic Note Taking. I'm excited that you're here. I hope that you're ready to roll up your sleeves and get stuck in because we have a lot of work to do together. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to myself in this lesson, and then I hope you'll introduce yourself in the graph underneath the Magical Academic Note Taking tribe so that we can all get to know each other a little bit further. If you are in the graph right now instead of watching the lesson and you have not yet taken or watched the video, How to Navigate this Forum, I would go ahead and watch that first. It's going to help you make progress as we go through this lesson today. So let's talk about our lesson goals. So for today, we're going to learn just a few tools that you're going to need to get started. We'll dive much deeper into the tool segment as we move forward in the course, and there'll be new tools that you'll learn about in every single lesson. And also, the major part of what we're doing today is to try and give you clarity about what's going to happen in the journey you're about to undertake. So, let's get started. First things first, about your instructor. That's me. Hi, I'm Lisa Marie Cabrelli, otherwise known on social media as Laptop Life Lisa, and that's based on the fact that I have been starting and running a business from the road while traveling the world since 2006. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a writer, I am a digital nomad, and now and more recently, in the past few years, I have become an academic. I came back to academia late in life. I started my life in corporate as a software developer, business systems analyst, and business process engineer. And in 2006, I left my corporate career and created, ran, and eventually sold my own e commerce company. I sold my business in 2015 and was able to retire and follow my lifelong dream of writing novels. So I wrote and published 4 novels before things changed for me. The idea that I would ever enter a PhD program was very far from my mind. But when my husband and I found ourselves having to give up our digital nomad lifestyle to relocate back to Scotland to look after an aging family member, I enrolled in a master's program for fun, and then, well, it kind of got out of hand. And so here I am, taking a PhD in creative writing. All of this to say that I don't come from a long academic background, which is good for you because it means that I'm coming at this academia thing from a completely different angle. I am steeped in systems mindset. I've designed and implemented processes for global corporations. I've traveled the world to train folks on software that I developed. Hopefully, my armory of skills and experiences means that I can bring you a brand new way of looking at things. However, it also means that a lot of the academia work that is brand new to me may not be new to you. So hopefully there's not too much in here that you will find glaringly obvious, which to me is an epiphany. So excuse my excitement if that happens. How to get support. So if you need something from us, if you have any questions, it's very, very simple to email us at support@roamforresults.com. That will be me and Stephanie, who helps me out as my operations manager. And also, I hope very much that you will join me on Twitter at Laptop Life Lisa. If you do join me on Twitter, put a tweet out that you are taking the course so that I can follow you back. That would be fabulous. Okay, so what are our assumptions before we begin this course today? So my first assumption is that you have watched the video, the bonus video, How to Navigate this Graph. One of the benefits of running this entire course from within a Roam Research Graph is that you will naturally be learning about and getting more comfortable in Roam as the course progresses. So if you introduce yourself on the forum and you add in your areas of study and your areas of interest, you can even put the title of your thesis in there if you have one. That would be a great place for us to socialize and meet each other and find other academics who are taking this specific course and who have similar areas of interest so that maybe you can form little support groups and help each other out. I am assuming that you have a Roam Research account. and that you know the basics. There is also a number of free and paid courses available to learn the basics in the page resources and reading. So if you go ahead and visit that page, you'll find a whole list of stuff there. There's a lot of really great free content. So there's no need to pay for your introduction to Rome. There are some really great paid courses as well, but there are ways that you can learn for free. So we've focused on that there. The other thing that I'm assuming is that you will use Zotero as your bibliography tool. It's not absolutely essential that you do so. But in terms of easy referencing and easy output, Zotero provides the best results. So I will be offering other options. The way that I used to do it before Lucas sat me down with Zotero and straightened me out is still going to be available in this course because I find that some people want to use the other free resources, although Zotero is free. And there will be further instructions for how to install and use Zotero further on in the course. So if you're new to Zotero, then don't worry too much about that. Okay, so let's talk about the course roadmap. I believe that courses should achieve 3 goals. They should identify problems, they should explore solutions, and they should get you results, right? That's what we're here for. We're here to use Rome to get results. This course is extremely results focused. Yes, there are tons of amazing ways that you can use Rome to deepen your thinking and expand your mind. And if you want to do that, if you want to get deeper into things like algorithms of thought and using Rome as a second brain, I would strongly encourage you to visit Cortex Futura's fabulous courses. That's Lucas, Cite to Write, and Galaxy Brain, and they are linked in the resources and reading section. This course isn't that. This course is for folks who need to get that thesis or dissertation out of their head and onto the page. So I hope that's you. There are 6 main modules in the course with lessons within each module. And in this video, we're going to preview each of those so that you know what to expect. I have included this overall graph course process. You'll notice that I nested it underneath a graphics tab so that it will be easy for you to locate all the graphics that are in this course. This one you might want to download and print out. It gives you kind of a very, very top level process. So we're going to be talking about the 4 sessions, which is collecting, curating, synthesizing, and create. I'm not going to go into this very deeply right now because we're going to go into it bit by bit as we go through the journey through the course, but I wanted to let you have you download it, and have it on hand. So the way you download is that you just open it up within your own research, right click and say save image as, and then you can save that image and download it onto your computer. So moving on, let's talk about the missing piece. In this lesson, we're going to review everything that you will learn in this course. But before we do that, I want to talk about the missing piece. The missing piece is the essential part of writing an academic thesis or an academic dissertation of any kind, or a journal paper or something like that, that no one ever really explains it to you. And I would say that perhaps it's just rightly assumed that a student would know about this missing piece, but of course, not being having a long academic history, I did not. And after buying countless books on writing a thesis, attending multiple thesis writing university workshops, and chatting with many, many other PhDs, including those that have taken this beta course, I've discovered that the assumption that you know this is actually incorrect. And it's really a very important part of getting things done. So, what is the missing piece? The missing piece is note taking. The missing piece is knowing how to develop and implement an effective magical note taking process. So a good note-taking process includes how to write before actually sitting down and starting writing, how to take smart notes that develop your ideas and make connections and idea babies before you're sitting in front of a blank page, totally freaking out because your supervisor is urging you to just write something. And that's what my supervisors were doing to me because that's what they knew. So, a magical note taking process will keep all of your notes and sources organized, ready, and waiting for you at your fingertips so that the information you have worked so hard to collect and synthesize appears at the right place at the right time, easily and quickly, filling that blank page with work that you have actually already done. So it's writing before writing. So let's talk about each lesson within this course. Lesson 2 talks about the academic writing process, problem, and solution. So the problem is for most people that, or for me, I didn't even know where to start. So what this course will do is it will introduce to you a brand new model for how to approach your work. Your supervisor will keep telling you to just sit down and write, but how can you do that when you haven't read enough yet? Or you don't really know what your thesis question is, or you have no idea where to even begin. Do I read? Do I write? Do I organize? The solution is that before we dive into these lessons, you must get your mindset straight. And that actually requires a shift, a core shift in your thinking about how to approach this work. The solution is a new model for you to use that gets you working every day, making progress every day, so that you are constantly moving towards your end goal, which is your result, which is a finished dissertation or a finished thesis or academic paper. In lesson 3, we are going to talk about the part 1 of the academic scaffolding. And I'm going to explain to you what that means as we get into the lesson. So part 1 of the academic scaffolding is getting Rome research ready and setting everything else up for success. So the problem you have in this lesson is that you're so disorganized. Well, I'm so disorganized. And so what we're going to give you in this lesson is a setup process to get you started. You're disorganized because you can't remember what you've read. You don't know what to read next. You have notes lying around everywhere. You can't remember why you wrote that specific sentence down. You know there's a connection between what you just read and something else you read maybe a month ago, maybe 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, but you can't remember what it was, and it doesn't matter because you can't find that original reading anyway. You cannot approach a project of this length and size the old fashioned way with post it notes and index cards and highlighters and book tags. They just won't cut it. So in module 2, we're going to talk about the way you need to get yourself set up for success and why. We're going to talk about the essential tools that you will need to complete this course, including how to optimally set up Rome Research to manage the work that we're about to undertake. And thankfully, because we're working directly within a Rome Research graph, this work will include access to the exact setup that I use, including all of the JavaScript and CSS files readily available to you to simply download as a JSON file and upload into your own graph. So you'll have no worries about learning how to install off of GitHub and upload them and get them into your own graph. This will be very, very simple for you with the process that I'm going to present. In lesson 4, we're going to have an introduction to Smart Notes, and this is just an introduction. Your problem is you don't know how to take notes, or that was my problem, and the solution is implementing the Smart Notes process. As we go through these lesson sections, you'll notice that all of them have writing as part of their title. And that is no accident. You'll be writing all the time. But the difference is you'll be writing under a clear process with a clear purpose. So the problem is that you don't know how to take notes that translate into ideas. or you've forgotten why you wrote that down, or you can't remember the context of a quote that you highlighted. Sometimes I would just take notes and then leave them there in a book, on a PDF, in my notebook, etc., and I would never see them again. So the solution is here, a fixed collection process. That means that you always know where every note that you ever took lives and how those notes will be organized. You'll never lose your notes again if you follow the SMART notes process. And there is a way to make your notes smart. There's a way to take notes so that you will remember why you took that note and what context you took that note from. There is a way to use all of your notes as building blocks for your future writing. There is a way to take notes so that you will never ever lose them lingering away in some book somewhere or in a notebook that is like stuffed under a pile of papers on your desk. And I'm going to show you the way in lesson 4. In the next lessons, we get into the 4 steps of the 4 processes involved in the academic note process. So the first one we're going to talk about is the collection process. So the problem is you don't know where anything is. The solution we just talked about within the SMART notes process is having a fixed method with a place for everything and everything in its place. Some have argued that this lesson should come before the note-taking lesson. And I've kept it in this order for 2 reasons. I wanted you to have food for thought as early in the course as possible so you could get started with your shift in thinking around note taking. And the second point is that it's very difficult to show you how to organize if you don't know what you will be organizing. So that's why we do the SMART Notes introduction first. So I had a problem that I spent hours messing around with my bibliography and rereading notes that I've read 5 times already and staring at my computer wondering what to start with or where to start. I was so unorganized with notes everywhere and piles of paper and post-it notes and dog-eared books and was never quite sure what to do next. So the solution is making your organizing and collection time essential time, not wasted time. When you give organizing and planning the respect that they deserve without feeling guilty that you're just wasting time because you aren't writing, when you treat them as vital and valid activities, and you approach those activities with a fixed, clear process, everything you do will count towards your end result and lead you closer. So that's collection. Then we're going to talk about the process of curating. So my problem in the curating section was I didn't know what to read next, and I also didn't know when to stop. So what we're going to present to you is a fixed curation process with a decision matrix to help you manage all of the incoming information. Um, this is a really important step for most people, but a lot of people don't usually spend much time on it. So we're going to actually lay it out as a fixed process with worksheets and notes that you can use to make sure that you manage your incoming information. Next in the course, we're going to talk about synthesizing, and this is my favorite part. So the problem is your notes are too difficult to use during the writing process. You have all these notes, but they have no connections between them. You're not really sure where they came from. And when you need them, you don't know where they are. So the solution is to make magical time traveling SMART notes. And that's what we do during the synthesizing process. This is the most fun part of the course, also probably the most complex and difficult, but I am going to make it very, very clear and simple for you to follow. So when you go back, maybe when you go back to original source, you forgot what it was about. Your notes are interesting, but you have piles of them and you just reread them all the time. Nothing seems connected. You can't manage the volume. When you sit down to write, you're overwhelmed by all the notes that you have in so many different places and you can't bring them together. You can't make connections between what you've read and what you need to write. So there is a solution, and this is the most important part of your thesis writing. You need to make your notes so smart that they are practically thesis ready paragraphs sitting in your graph ready to be used. You need to clear away the fleeting notes, focus on the core messages, make connections between your notes and ideas that you can then explore within your writing. You need notes to time travel forward from when you took them and appear in front of you when you are ready to write. And this section of the course will teach you exactly how to do that. Then we are into the last section of the course, which is create. So the problem is you can't really find a word processor that works for you. You're lost in Microsoft Word. You can't find anything. You can't move stuff around. Somebody told you that you should try Scrivener, but it was so complicated and it didn't do exactly what you needed it to do, even though you couldn't really tell what you needed it to do anyway. Your outline keeps changing, so you end up cutting and pasting things on index cards and then screwing everything up. You have so many printed out copies that you can't remember which version that you're on. So the solution to this is that there is a magical tool out there that's ready and waiting for you to come in and play. And Roam Research is that tool. And you can write directly within the software. And that's why we were working within Roam Research for all of the other lessons. So this is the final lesson where everything you've done so far presents you with a tool that has an outline that you can easily change and rearrange, has your almost thesis worthy notes, and writing then begins to feel just like plug and play. It gives you an easy way to quickly look back through every note you've taken within context. Every source that you've read will be available at your fingertips without moving away from the paper that you're writing in front of you and without moving away from your thoughts that are currently in flow. So that is the final lesson, which is creation. And we are going to also talk about output. How do you get your work out of Roam Research and have it be in a Microsoft Word document, submission ready for your supervisors or PDF, whichever version you want, so that people can give you feedback. And we're going to talk about that in this lesson as well. So that's it. That is the structure of the course. At the end of every one of these lessons, we're going to talk about the course in action, which is basically assignments for you guys to do so that you can put what you are learning in every lesson directly into play as soon as you are finished with the lesson. So today, these are your assignments. Watch the bonus video if you haven't on how to navigate this graph. Second assignment is go ahead, if you are on Twitter, follow me on Laptop Life Lisa. I love to see what everyone is up to. Tweet you're taking the course so that I know to follow you, because I don't follow a ton of people because I get too confused with Twitter. And then go ahead and add your bio to the Magical Academic Note-Taking Tribe page. And there are instructions on that within the how to navigate this graph video. So that's it. I am really looking forward to working with you. I think we're going to have a lot of fun, especially since we are working within the graph and we can share information, share ideas, and you can work with your cohort to get to know each other and become a support group for each other as well. So that's all I have to say today. Onwards and upwards. See you next time.